The court has sentenced Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu to jail pending trial on charges of terrorism and corruption. There's heavy security around the court where he appeared on Sunday morning. Imamoglu was transferred from police custody to the courthouse on Saturday. He was detained earlier this week. Now, the opposition politician says the allegations of corruption, bribery and terrorism are part of a smear campaign. Imamoglu was planning to contest the 2028 presidential election. Well, for the latest, we can speak now to Sinem who joins us from outside the courthouse in Istanbul, where Imamoglu is being held. We understand the judge has now jailed him pending his trial. Can you just run us through exactly what happened in court there this morning?
Well, Ekrem Imamoglu and some 100 suspects were transferred to the courthouse yesterday evening, and they were questioned by the main prosecutor. He's in charge of the corruption and terrorism files, who actually gathered those files. And as of this morning, the suspects, including Imamoglu, appeared before judge. And according to what is being reported on the media right now, Ekrem Imamoglu and some others are jailed pending trial, while 21 suspects are released pending trial. But there will be some measures, of course, for those released ones. Like some of them are not going to be able to exit the country to another country or whatever. But apparently the judge's decision is coming quick. These charges of imprisonment and release is based within the scope of the corruption file. Now we are waiting for the judge to rule on the terrorism file. There are less suspects in that file, so I think the process is going to take shorter than expected. And before noon, probably, we will see the suspects being released or being transferred to the dedicated prison for them.
This, no doubt, is only going to anger his supporters even further. We've seen huge protests over the last few days and understand there is a heavy security presence outside court. I mean, these protests presumably are only going to grow?
Yeah, the security measures have been tightened, especially as of last night. And since the day Ekrem Imamoglu and the other suspects were detained by the Turkish police, there was a protest ban in Istanbul and even in Ankara. And last night, Istanbul Governor's Office announced that the protest ban was extended until March 26 for 4 more days. But despite the protest ban, the demonstrations have been ongoing, including Istanbul, Ankara, and last night it was around in maybe more than 50 cities. In Istanbul, the police records say there 300,000 gathered in front of the municipality building to show solidarity with Imamoglu. But the opposition members claim that the figure is much higher, reaching out to 1 million. But as of today, because of the arrest decision, the jail decision, we expect more people take to the streets. Also, today, as of 9 a.m. in the morning, the CHP, the main opposition party, Republican Party members, started to vote as a preliminary vote to decide to nominate Ekrem Imamoglu as their sole presidential candidate for the 2028 elections. This is a nationwide voting happening across Turkey right now, and it was already scheduled much before Ekrem Imamoglu's detention. So this decision might bring more people to the ballot box to vote for him in the upcoming presidential bid for 2028. Back to you.
Yeah, Sinem, just on that, on his nomination, is a plan to contest the 2028 presidential election. Where does it leave things? Can he still, is that nomination still going to go ahead?
Well, actually, this nomination process is something extraordinary. Ekrem Imamoglu, since the day he was elected as the mayor, he has positioned himself as a major challenger for President Erdogan in a presidential bid. And honestly, this election is just 3 years from now, and this is the first time that 3 years before an election, a party is nominating a presidential candidate. So many circles have also criticized the main opposition party, just trying to provoke early elections. And also, we have to mention that there is a rivalry within the main opposition itself. Ekrem Imamoglu, after main opposition's presidential candidate Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu lost in the presidential elections before 1.5 years ago, Ekrem Imamoglu is accused of bribing the main opposition delegates to vote for Özgür Özel, the current president, to overthrow Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. That's why the prosecutors' investigations are based on many complaints from other main opposition party leaders. So here we are also witnessing an internal rivalry within the CHP itself. Let me say maybe more hardcore CHP members and the new members like Imamoglu and his supporters. So the bribery investigation is not only within the municipality but also within the CHP itself. That investigation is still underway, and some people are even discussing about a possible government-appointed trustee to run the main opposition party. So this is a very complicated story actually to tell from Turkey. But of course, as I have been mentioning, whatever the reason is, the citizens are angry because they say we voted for this man. 52% of Istanbul citizens voted for this man, and you cannot take him away. This is what the protesters are trying to explain, especially given that the escalations in Turkey is increasing due to the difficult economic situation.
OK, thank you so much, Sinem. We really do appreciate you bringing us the latest there from Istanbul. Just to reiterate what Sinem was talking about, a court has sentenced the Istanbul mayor, Ekrem Imamoglu, to jail pending his trial on charges of terrorism and corruption. That hearing at court is continuing. We will no doubt bring you the latest a little later on.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.